You have to stand proudly for the national anthem. Well, you shouldn't be playing. You shouldn't be there. Maybe you shouldn't be in the country. I think it's had a huge impact on sports, a huge negative impact on sports. Let politics remain separate.
There is no more contradictory figure than Donald John Trump.
People don't want to see all of the politics. They've got enough politics with me and with everybody else. And they don't want to see it with football and sports on Sunday or whenever they happen to be watching.
Because you see, Trumpism is about sports and politics for me, none for thee.
You had an opportunity to show up for a workout. And oh, by the way, you showed up in a Kunta Kinte shirt. That's what you did for owners that you want to play for. Now, whether you like it or not, the bottom line is they're owners in the league with the ability to employ you. When you want a job, these are not things that you do.
Who cares if he's wearing a Kunta Kinte t-shirt? Like, is our original sin in this country slavery, yes or no? Is that the reason that 31 of the 32 owners are white, yes or no? Because of the power structure, yes or no? Yes, of course it is. That's the very thing that's related to the reason Kaepernick was protesting in the first place. So what if he shows up with the Kunta Kinte t-shirt?
But Stephen A. Smith sees an opportunity.
Black folks lament all the time. We totally support protests. We are protesters. We got a lot to protest about. But when you riot, particularly in your own community, in the past I'm talking about, why is that something that we've lamented? Because when the fire stops burning and the damage has been done and you've done it in your own community, where do you go from there?
It's better not to riot. I'm not pro-riot, okay? Let me be very clear about that off the top.
I'm not saying that. I just brought that up.
Rioting in their own communities, black people don't own those communities. They don't own those communities. And this culture has been rioting against black people for hundreds of years.
And it is this.
I knew Trump before
you used to talk to him. You ever talk to him anymore?
No, I don't. I knew Trump before he ran for the presidency. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to him. He was a huge sports fan. He used to throw a lot of events at his casinos and stuff like that. And I genuinely liked him. I think he's changed, but I will tell you this. I think when people call him racist and stuff like that, I've never thought of Trump that way. He's not against black people. He's against all things not named Trump.
Smith, who has gone on the record saying Trump is not a racist, told Howard Stern, people are going to call me crazy. Obviously, I have my show, First Take, on ESPN every weekday morning. It's a debate show. I would love to be in a presidential debate. I'd eat him alive. I wouldn't run for the presidency, but I'd debate Trump any day of the week. Any day of the week. Name the time and place, and I'd show up. Smith would go on, do you know what I would do if I was on the stage with Trump and Trump tried to talk about the way that I look? Do you know how much material I would have? Look at him. Are you kidding me? I marvel at how people have limited comebacks for him. Jeb Bush, low energy, no comeback. Marco Rubio, little Marco, no comeback. When noting to Stern if the iconic radio host would serve as moderator or even set up a debate, Smith asked, what's it worth to you, Howard? If it's worth it to me, I'm going to be ready. You got to be a communicator. If you're aspiring to be the commander-in-chief, you got to know how to communicate. You got to know how to resonate with an audience. Smith, 56, also went on the record saying of the Dem and Republican frontrunners, I'm not enamored with either candidate. I don't like Trump because I think that he'll cause civil war in this country, and I think he will be on a vengeance tour as the president of the United States if he were to get reelected. Nonetheless, he said, I would vote for Biden any day of the week ahead of Trump. As always, if we have forgot something, if you would like to submit stories for us to cover, your voice can be heard. Get at me on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. There's only so many hours in a day of stuff that we can cover. Sometimes a big story will fall through the cracks or a big story to you, so send them to me. I am all ears. On this front, I'm calling somewhat a BS here, and I'm going to tell you why. Stephen A. Smith, first off, saying Trump is not a racist is a revealing card because anyone who has ever worked for him, and the track record shows, whether it is housing discrimination, the exonerated five, the way he talks about black people's IQ, there is a laundry list of examples. So yes, he would have a lot to work with, but suddenly is race off the table if it were to come to this debate? Remains to be seen, I suppose. The reason I'm calling partial BS on this is because Stephen A. Smith has shown, and he has talked about how he is wealthy. And he has talked about how he really likes being friends with the billionaire class of owners across sports. He has yucked it up with Cowboys owner Jerry Jones on his chopper. They even shot part of an ESPN First Take episode show from the chopper. And they were, exploring Jerry's wealth as well and flaunting it. And because of those relationships that he covets so much, I personally would have to think, if Smith, here's what we do know. Let me go back for a second. If Smith doesn't like you, he will pull no punches. Ask Jason Whitlock about this.
While you were on Blaze TV, spewing that bull to people, did you tell him that? Did you tell them how you stood outside of First Take begging me to talk to you? Did you tell them that once this same article in Deadspin came out, weeks later you wrote a lengthy apology to me in an email, begging me to forgive you, pointing out how you were betrayed by this particular writer, so you know how I must feel that you betrayed me? Did you tell the folks that? Did you tell them?
I mean, he crushed that man on the Stephen A. Smith show. We've talked about it. Check it out on demand if you want to see it. But if he does, then he will pull them. And a classic example is when they had Roger Goodell on, and they did not ask any difficult questions. It was coming from a place of, hey man, I'm just going to ask you this thing and then we're just going to get out and we're going to talk about fun stuff. And it wasn't even a hard-hitting question. It was soft. So if he wants to build more relationships, and he's also talked about how, he's been asked previously to run as a politician. He says he's an independent, but he would vote for Chris Christie if he had the choice. He said that he would vote for Mitt Romney over Barack Obama in the past. So he has Republican leanings. And what I find to be interesting, regardless of what he said about Biden, and I agree with him, by the way, not enamored with either candidate. I think that is the consensus amongst a large block of the voter base. But what I would say is this: he is a man who also knows where his bread is buttered, and he values the sanctity and preservation of networking, brand building, and making connections. Would he really poo-poo on one of the biggest connections he could have? Doesn't seem like it to me. You let me know. Let's discuss in the comments. I'll meet you there.